Hey everybody, this is Matt from End Sickness. I'm going to talk about why the carnivore diet reduces your tolerance to all other foods, including fiber, and why this is counterproductive for your overall health. First, let me say I'm not a medical doctor. It's not medical advice. It's based on my 22 years of research and experience. This is for informational, educational purposes only. So, okay, why would the carnivore diet make you less tolerant to fiber? Well, carnivore diet is obviously eating nothing but animal products. When you eat nothing but animal products, you feed a certain strain of bacteria, a certain species of bacteria in there that are not going to be able to break down fibers. And if you keep feeding them over and over and over again, they start to dominate and dominate and dominate. When they dominate, the problem is they also produce lots of histamine. When they produce histamine, you have these inflammatory symptoms that start to arise. And also, what happens is that in essence, you collapse your gut microbiome by eating carnivore because you have such little diversity in what you're eating that you only feed these specific colonies of bacteria. And by doing that, you leave out all these other guys that are necessary to be able to calm down your immune system and fight off pathogens and break down certain starches and sugars and, produce short chain fatty acids and all these critical things. So the key with getting off carnivore and being on carnivore is you have to be able to, if you're going to do a lot of meat, you got to be able to have a good amount of vegetables and fruits too. You got to have something. And if you can't tolerate the vegetables and the fruits because you're not tolerating the fiber, it doesn't mean go with more meat. It means go with less meat, starve out the organisms that are causing you the problems in your gut, and gradually go with more plants as you reduce the meat. The reality is, if you keep feeding those colony that don't break down the plants, and you keep feeding them meat over and over again, you're going to keep having issues when the food goes in there and they don't want it and they don't break it down and they cause byproducts in your stomach that you don't want. So you got to starve that colony out. You could starve it out by reducing the animal products down to 4 ounces a day, and then 4 ounces every other day, and then 4 ounces a couple times a week. That type of thing, if you're doing the meat or a couple eggs, whatever it is, but you got to reduce your frequency down from once a day to every other day to a couple times a week and gradually build up the amount of plants that you're consuming over that time. You will see over the course of 30, 45, 60 days, whatever it takes, your body will become more tolerant to these plants. You'll be able to handle the oxalates, the salicylates, the histamine, whatever you are possibly avoiding by doing this carnivore diet. And next thing you know, you'll be eating 15, 20 different plants over the course of 60 days. And then you can go ahead and add your animal products back in at what frequency you would like. But the reality is the more you eat these animal products, the more likely you're going to go back to being intolerant to the fibers. You want to have balance, You want to have balance. You want to have something like 10, 20% animal products. You want to have something like 70, 80% plus of the plants. That's really what you're looking for. And then you want to have your oils in there as well, your plant-based oils. So if you have any questions, reach out. You do not want to go carnivore forever. If you do that, it will collapse your gut microbiome. It will make the amount of foods you tolerate less and less and less and less and less. And this is what I've seen over and over again with clients. They reduce their tolerance to all these other foods and they're eating, 20 foods initially. They're down to 6, 7 different foods. They keep backing themselves further and further into a corner and then they don't know what to do. So to get out of the situation, you have to reduce that meat. You got to increase the plants. This is what's healthy for your liver, your kidneys, your lymph, your gut, your cholesterol levels, your heart, your immune system, everything in the long run. Go to my website, endsickness.org, for hundreds of articles, hundreds of videos on there teaching you how to heal yourself. Take care.